Hello again, here I am in my mobile office. This is, I don't have an actual office. In fact, one of my goals for this year is to get some kind of sort of permanent home that I can do videos and do more of my writing. I tend to kind of hang out in coffee shops in Tame, just outside of where I live, and which is fine. I kind of enjoy that, I enjoy the flexibility, but it would also be pretty cool to have somewhere I can just have all my stuff set up. That said, I don't mind shooting videos from in the car. I've just been on a couple of coaching calls. I've got one more to do before I head over to the gym this afternoon. But I wanted to kind of check in today, given that this is a one-a-day video series I'm planning on doing for the entire year. So far, so good. I'm 1 for 1 or 2 for 2 if this one gets uploaded in time. I did say I was going to talk about goals today and some of my own personal goals for 2018, but I'm going to kind of save that one maybe for tomorrow or the next day. I want to get something really kind of clearly mapped out that I can share with you. But I wanted to kind of share a little bit about my process of preparing presentations, particularly this one I've got coming up on Friday, which is probably about a 45 minute talk. We're going to talk about kind of my alternative approach to setting New Year resolutions and personal change, creating personal change. So it's about 45 minutes, and then we'll do a Q&A at the end. I'm really looking forward to it. But there's obviously, I want to make sure that I'm hitting my time targets. I want to make sure that I'm leaving people with a particular feeling, a particular, my objective with this is to help it kind of inspire and motivate people, and to kind of, there's a bit of a call to action to do things differently. So my process with writing this particular presentation is to start with that end in mind. That's what I want people to do. I want people to feel that particular way. And so once I've got that in mind, I can keep coming back to that, and everything that I write, everything I do, all the different techniques I use within the talk always have that as the kind of the driving force behind them, the driving motivator, if you will. So I tend to kind of use a number of different techniques when I'm putting together presentations. I love mind mapping, just getting that central idea down and kind of putting spikes off and saying, right, we'll talk about this, we'll talk about that, we'll talk about this. So it doesn't ever make it into the final product, but I find it a really good way for me to kind of access my own creativity. My background actually educationally was engineering. It's fairly sort of straightforward, logical, step-by-step process-driven subjects, rather than the creative subjects like writing and the arts. So I've really had to try hard over the last 15 years or so to access that creativity, and mind mapping seems to work really, really well for me. So once I got those ideas, I then kind of think of the stories that I'm going to use. And I never, if I were to deliver this speech in practice, I can guarantee that it wouldn't be the same again when I do it for real. And if I did it again, it would be different again. It's different every single time, and I like that. I don't like the idea of memorizing something and just delivering it off rote, because kind of any time I've tried to do that in the past, I felt it loses a little bit of my heart and my soul that I try to put into these talks. And I never feel like I'm being as authentic as when I can just kind of just go with the thoughts that are coming into my mind, but I still need to have that structure. So what I do is I kind of come up with blocks and say, well, I'm going to talk with this block first. Here's my introduction block. I got my point 1 block, my point 2 block, and each of those blocks have a number of stories and points and devices incorporated within them. And that allows me, especially when I go into kind of storytelling. I think a great thing about storytelling is that you don't need to rehearse it. You don't need to kind of memorize it note for note, because you know it. It's a story. You have lived the story. You know it, especially when it's a personal story. So it becomes very easy for you to get animated and to kind of really and get passionate and enjoy yourself when you're telling it, without having to be thinking, okay, what comes next? Because it's already in there. You just kind of access it as you go. And once I've got those blocks, then I work out roughly how long each of them is going to take. Give myself a little bit of, I'm normally quite optimistic with how long they're going to take, so I give myself plenty of slack in there, but not too much. Don't want to finish too early, and blow everything out in 20 minutes when it's meant to be a 45-minute talk. But then I've also got things that I can take out and things that I can add in if I need to. I'm a big believer in being able to respond to the audience as well. Any talk I've given in the past, it's been kind of semi-interactive, some more so than others. But when you get that interaction, when you can see people responding to certain points, you can as a speaker, I try to kind of build on those points that are obviously being well received. And so although I have the basic structure and my outline and my intended objectives, I also leave a good deal of flexibility in there that allows me to respond in the moment. So that's a little bit about my process, and actually one of the things I'm keen to do in this year is to experiment with this process, just because I've got something that works for me. Maybe there's a better way. I'm a big believer in challenging things that I do and the way that I do things. Just because I've got a way that works doesn't mean it's the best way. And if I can enhance that or otherwise improve it, then I'm all ears for that. So I'm on the lookout for different ways. And one of the things I want to do as well this year is speak to more speakers and find out how they do things, and experiment with trying to do things in different ways. So I'll share those insights and thoughts with you as and when they happen. But thanks for listening and watching today, at whatever point you've tuned into this. And I'll be back again soon with hopefully a bit more of an insight into some of my goals for 2018. Bye for now.